I gave my brother 40 years of my life. I raised him when our parents couldn't. I paid for his education when no one else would. I stood by him through every failure, every broken promise, every time he needed saving. And when I finally collapsed in my living room, gasping for air, reaching for my phone with trembling fingers, I called him. He answered on the third ring. His voice was distracted, distant. "Hey sis, what's up?" I could barely speak. The words came out in broken fragments. "David, I think I'm having a heart attack. I need help." There was a pause, not the kind filled with concern, the kind filled with inconvenience. Then he said it, the words that would end everything between us. "I'm watching the playoffs. Can you call an ambulance? I'll check on you after the game." And he hung up. He chose a baseball game over my life. That's when I stopped being his sister. The pain started around 3 p.m. Not sharp, not sudden, just a heavy pressure spreading across my chest like someone had placed a weight there and forgotten to remove it. I tried to ignore it. That's what I always did. Push through. Stay strong. Don't complain. I'd learned that lesson early, back when I was 16 and our mother left. Dad worked double shifts at the factory, barely home, barely present. So I became the parent. I made David's lunches, helped with his homework, attended his parent-teacher conferences. I was the one who stayed up late when he had nightmares, who celebrated his birthdays, who told him everything would be okay even when I didn't believe it myself. I was still doing that 40 years later. By 4 p.m., the pressure had become pain. Real pain, the kind that makes you stop moving, stop pretending. I sat down on the couch, hand pressed against my chest, trying to breathe steadily. The room felt too warm. My left arm tingled. I knew what this meant. I wasn't stupid, but I also wasn't someone who asked for help easily. I'd spent my whole life being the one people leaned on. The dependable one. The strong one. The one who never needed anything. I reached for my phone. My hands were shaking. I scrolled through my contacts. There weren't many. Most of my friends had drifted away over the years, tired of canceled plans because David needed something. Tired of hearing me make excuses for him. Tired of watching me give and give and give to someone who never gave back. But he was my brother. My baby brother. The boy I'd raised. The man I'd sacrificed everything for. Surely he would come. Surely this time he would show up. I tapped his name. The phone rang. Once, twice, 3 times. "Hey sis, what's up?" His voice was casual, distracted. I could hear it in the background. The roar of a crowd, the crack of a bat, the announcer's excited voice. He was watching the game. The playoffs. His team was winning. "David." My voice came out weak, breathless. "I think I'm having a heart attack. I need help, silence. Not the good kind. The kind that makes your stomach drop." Then, "Are you serious right now?" I almost laughed. Almost. Because even in that moment, even as my chest felt like it was caving in, he still thought I might be exaggerating. That I might be interrupting his game for nothing. "Yes," I whispered. "I'm serious, please. I need you." Another pause. Longer this time. I heard him exhale, frustrated, annoyed. "Look, I'm watching the playoffs. It's the 9th inning. Can you just call an ambulance? They'll get there faster anyway. I'll check on you after the game ends, okay?" My heart didn't just break. It shattered. "David, please, I gotta go. Call 911. You'll be fine." Click. He hung up. I sat there, phone still pressed to my ear, listening to the silence. The same silence I'd heard my whole life whenever I needed something. The same silence that told me I didn't matter. Not really. Not when it counted. I don't remember calling 911. I don't remember what I said. I just remember the operator's voice, calm and steady, telling me to stay on the line, telling me help was coming. I remember lying down on the floor because sitting up hurt too much. I remember staring at the ceiling, counting the cracks, wondering how I'd never noticed them before. The paramedics arrived. 2 of them. A man and a woman. They moved quickly, efficiently, asked questions, checked my vitals, loaded me onto a stretcher. The woman held my hand as they wheeled me out. "Is someone meeting you at the hospital?" she asked gently. I shook my head. No one? No one. She squeezed my hand. Didn't say anything else. Didn't need to. The hospital was bright and cold and filled with beeping machines. Nurses came and went. Doctors asked questions. I answered them all. Yes, I lived alone. No, I didn't have any allergies. No, there was no one to call. They ran tests. EKG, blood work, chest x-rays. Hours passed. The pain started to ease, replaced by exhaustion. Deep, bone-tired exhaustion. A young nurse came in to check my IV. She had kind eyes. Do you need us to contact anyone? She asked. I thought about David. Thought about him sitting in his living room, beer in hand, cheering for his team. Thought about how he'd probably already forgotten about my call, how he'd tell himself I was fine, that I was always fine, that I didn't really need him. No, I said. There's no one. She nodded, adjusted my blanket, and left. I closed my eyes. And for the first time in 40 years, I let myself admit the truth. I had given everything to someone who would never give anything back. I had raised him, sacrificed for him, loved him unconditionally. And when I needed him most, he chose a game, not an emergency. Not a crisis. A game. The tears came then. Quiet, hot, angry tears. Not because I was sad. Because I was done. I was finally, completely done. When I opened my eyes again, the room was dark. Night had fallen. The hallway outside was quieter now. Visiting hours were over. Not that it mattered. No one was coming. I reached for my phone. 17 missed calls. All from David. I didn't listen to the voicemails. Didn't read the texts. I just turned the phone off and set it on the table beside me. Tomorrow, I would make decisions. Tomorrow, I would start untangling 40 years of one-sided love. Tomorrow, I would stop being the sister who gave everything and got nothing. But tonight, I just lay there in the darkness, machines beeping steadily beside me, and I mourned. Not for him, for me. For all the years I'd wasted. For all the times I'd chosen him over myself. Never again. The doctor came in the next morning with a clipboard and a careful smile. The kind of smile that meant bad news delivered gently. You had a myocardial infarction, he said. A heart attack. Moderate severity. We've stabilized you, but you'll need to make some serious lifestyle changes. Less stress, more rest, and you'll need a support system. A support system. I almost laughed. How long do I need to stay? I asked. At least another day for observation. Then we'll discuss your discharge plan and follow-up care. He left. I stared at the ceiling. The same cracks. The same silence. My phone sat on the table, still turned off. I knew what was waiting for me when I turned it on. Panic, excuses, guilt trips disguised as concern. I'd seen it before. Every time David messed up, every time he hurt me, it was the same pattern. Ignore it, minimize it, then act like I was the problem for being upset. Not this time. I turned on the phone. 53 notifications. Texts, calls, voicemails, all from David. A few from his wife, Jennifer. None of them had shown up. Just words. Digital concern. The kind that costs nothing. I opened the first text. David. Hey, just saw your calls. Everything okay? Sent 3 hours after he hung up on me. 3 hours. The game had been over for 2.5 hours by then. David. Sis, call me back. Getting worried. David. Jennifer says I should check on you. Are you mad? David. Okay, this is ridiculous. Call me. Jennifer. Hi, it's Jennifer. David said you called during the game. He feels bad. Can you let us know you're okay? Feels bad. Not he's sorry. Not he's on his way. Feels bad. I scrolled through the voicemails. Listen to the first one. Hey sis, it's me. Look, I'm sorry I couldn't talk earlier. You know how I get during the playoffs. But I'm here now. Call me back, okay? Love you. Couldn't talk. Like I had asked him about his day. Like I had interrupted him with something trivial. I had told him I was having a heart attack. The second voicemail was Jennifer. Hi, it's Jennifer. David's really upset. He said you sounded weird on the phone. but he thought you were just being dramatic. You know how he is during baseball season. Anyway, call us back so he stops worrying. Dramatic. That word sat in my chest like a stone. I had been lying on the floor, struggling to breathe, calling for help, and they thought I was being dramatic. I deleted every message, every voicemail, every text. Then I blocked both numbers. The relief was immediate. A social worker came by that afternoon. Her name was Patricia. She had gray hair pulled back in a neat bun and a gentle, no-nonsense energy. "I'm here to help with your discharge planning," she said, sitting down beside my bed. "Do you live alone?" "Yes." "Is there someone who can stay with you for a few days? Help with meals, medications, that sort of thing?" "No," she made a note. "Family nearby?" I hesitated. "I have a brother. Will he be able to help?" "No," she looked up, meeting my eyes. Something in my expression must have told her not to push. "Okay," she said softly. "Let's talk about other options. We can arrange for a home health aide, Meals on Wheels, and I'll give you some resources for community support groups." For the first time in days, I felt something loosen in my chest. Not pain, relief, because she wasn't trying to fix my relationship with David. She was just helping me take care of myself. We spent the next hour going through paperwork, setting up services, making plans that didn't include my brother. After she left, I sat in the quiet room and thought about the last 40 years. I was 16 when Mom left. Just packed a bag one Tuesday morning and walked out the door. Didn't leave a note. Didn't say goodbye, just gone. David was 6, too young to understand. He kept asking when Mommy was coming home. I kept lying, telling him soon, telling him she loved him, telling him everything would be okay. Dad tried. He really did, but he was drowning in his own grief, working himself to exhaustion just to keep the lights on. So I became the parent. I made breakfast, packed lunches, helped with homework. I gave up my senior year of high school to take care of a 6-year-old who wasn't my responsibility. But I didn't mind. I loved David. He was my baby brother, and I wanted him to have a childhood, even if I couldn't. I worked 2 jobs after graduation to help pay for his college. Didn't go myself. Couldn't afford it. But David was smart. He deserved a chance. So I waitressed during the day and cleaned offices at night, sending him money every month. He graduated. Got a good job. Met Jennifer. They bought a house. Had kids. And slowly over the years I became less important. An afterthought. The person you call when you need something but forget about otherwise. When David's son was born, I took a week off work to help. Cooked, cleaned, did laundry, took care of the baby so they could sleep. Jennifer barely thanked me. David said, "You didn't have to do all that," like it was a criticism, not gratitude. When David lost his job 3 years ago, I gave him $15,000. My savings. The money I'd been setting aside for retirement. He promised to pay me back. Never did. Never even mentioned it again. When their roof needed repairs, I spent a weekend helping David patch it. Fell off the ladder. Sprained my wrist. He laughed. Said I should be more careful. Every birthday, every holiday, every important moment in his life, I showed up. With gifts, with food, with time. He missed my 50th birthday. Said he forgot. He missed my 60th. Said he was busy. This year, my 65th, he sent a text. "Happy B-Day, sis!" No call, no visit. Just 3 words and an abbreviation, and I kept forgiving him. Kept telling myself he was busy. He had a family. He didn't mean it. But when I was on the floor, heart failing, voice breaking, begging for help, he chose a baseball game. That wasn't forgetfulness. That wasn't being busy. That was a choice, and I was done making excuses for it. I was discharged 2 days later. A cab took me home. The driver helped me to the door, refused the extra tip I tried to give him, and wished me well. A stranger showed more kindness in 5 minutes than my brother had in 5 decades. The house was exactly as I'd left it. Cold. Empty. Mine. I walked through each room slowly, seeing it differently now. This wasn't just where I lived. This was the life I'd built around someone else's needs. The guest room I always kept ready in case David needed a place to stay. The extra groceries I bought in case he stopped by hungry. The calendar on the wall marked with his kids' birthdays, his anniversary, his important dates. None of my own. I didn't even know what my important dates were anymore. When had I last done something just for me? When had I last made a decision that wasn't influenced by what David might need, might want, might expect? I couldn't remember. That afternoon, I started making calls, first to my bank. I need to close my joint savings account. The one I'd opened years ago so David could access money in emergencies. He'd used it twice, never repaid a cent. Second, to my lawyer. I need to update my will. David had been my sole beneficiary. Not anymore. Third, to my phone company. I need to change my number. A clean break. No more calls I'd feel obligated to answer. No more guilt trips. No more expectations. By evening, I felt lighter. Not happy, not yet. But lighter. 3 days passed. Quiet days, healing days. I slept, I read. I sat in my garden and listened to the birds. Small things. Simple things. Things I hadn't had time for when I was always running to solve David's problems. On the 4th day, there was a knock on my door. I looked through the peephole. David. He looked tired, worried. He knocked again. Sis, I know you're in there. Your car's in the driveway. Please, just open the door. I need to talk to you. I stood there, hand on the doorknob, heart pounding. Not from fear. From anger. Clean, clear anger. I opened the door. Didn't step aside. Didn't invite him in. What do you want? He blinked, surprised by my tone. What do I want? Are you serious? I've been trying to reach you for days. Your phone's disconnected. I've been worried sick. Worried, I repeated. The word tasted bitter. You were worried. Yes. You called me saying you were having a heart attack, and then you just disappeared. What was I supposed to think? I stared at him. Really looked at him. At this man I'd raised, sacrificed for, loved unconditionally. And I saw a stranger. Someone who took and never once thought about giving back. You hung up on me, I said quietly. What? When I told you I was having a heart attack. You told me you were watching the game. You told me to call 911, and then you hung up. He shifted uncomfortably. I didn't hang up. Look, I thought you'd be fine. You're always fine. And it was the playoffs? I was lying on the floor, I interrupted. I could barely breathe. I called you because I was terrified. And you chose baseball. That's not fair. Fair? My voice rose. You want to talk about fair? I raised you. I gave up my education for you. I worked 2 jobs to put you through college. I gave you $15,000 when you lost your job. I've been there for every single crisis, every single need, every single time you called. And when I finally needed you just once, you couldn't pause a game. You're being dramatic, he said. And there it was. Jennifer's word. His word. The word they used whenever I dared to have feelings, to have needs. Get off my porch. What? You heard me. Get off my porch. And don't come back. Sis, come on. You're upset, I get it, but my name is Katherine, I said. And I'm not your sister anymore. Sisters are people who matter to each other. I clearly don't matter to you. So leave. His face went red. You're really going to throw away our entire relationship over one mistake? One mistake? I laughed. A hard, bitter sound. David, this wasn't one mistake. This was 40 years of mistakes. 40 years of me giving everything and you taking it without a second thought. 40 years of you treating me like a convenience instead of a person. I'm done. Fine, he snapped. Fine, be alone then. See if I care. He turned and walked away. Got in his car. Drove off. I closed the door, locked it. And then I did something I hadn't done in years. I cried. Not sad tears. Relief. Pure, overwhelming relief. The next week, the letters started. From Jennifer. Katherine, I don't know what's gotten into you, but this is extremely hurtful. David has been devastated. The kids are asking why Aunt Katherine isn't coming to visit anymore. You're tearing this family apart over something so trivial. Trivial. My heart attack was trivial. I threw the letter away. Didn't respond. Another letter came. Then another. Each one more accusatory than the last. I was selfish. I was cruel. I was punishing them. I was the problem. I threw them all away. David tried different tactics. Sent flowers. I donated them to a nursing home. Sent a card with a check. I tore it up. Sent the kids to knock on my door with a drawing. I smiled at them, accepted the drawing, and told them to tell their dad I wasn't home. He tried showing up at church. I switched churches. He tried calling from different numbers. I didn't answer unknown calls anymore. He tried sending messages through old family friends. I told them politely that I appreciated their concern, but this was between me and David. Slowly, he gave up. The messages stopped. The visits stopped. The attempts stopped, and I started living. I joined a book club. Met women my age who actually listened when I talked, who remembered my birthday, who called to check on me not because they needed something, but because they cared. I started taking painting classes. Turned out I was pretty good. My teacher said I had a natural eye for color. I volunteered at a women's shelter. Helped other women who'd spent their lives giving to people who didn't appreciate them. We understood each other. I traveled. Small trips at first. A weekend at the coast. A week in the mountains. Then bigger. A month in Europe. 2 months in Asia. Places I'd always wanted to see but never had time for because David might need me. I lived. For the first time in 40 years, I lived for myself. 2 years passed. 2 years of silence from David. 2 years of peace. I didn't miss him. I missed the brother I'd thought he was. The one I'd built up in my mind. The one who cared, who appreciated, who loved me back. But that brother had never existed. I'd just been too loyal to see it. On a Tuesday afternoon, my doorbell rang. I wasn't expecting anyone. My book club met on Thursdays. My painting class was Saturdays. I'd learned to fill my calendar with things that brought me joy. I opened the door. David stood there. But different, older, thinner, tired. "Hi," he said quietly. I didn't respond. Just waited. Can we talk, please?" I considered closing the door. But something in his face stopped me. Not manipulation. Not entitlement. Something else. Something that looked like genuine humility. "You have 5 minutes," I said. He nodded. Didn't ask to come in. Just stood on the porch, hands in his pockets, looking at the ground. "I'm sorry," he started. "I know that doesn't fix anything. I know it's too late, but I needed to say it. I'm sorry." I crossed my arms. Waited. "Jennifer left me," he continued. 6 months ago, she said I took her for granted. That I only thought about myself. That I treated her like she existed to serve me. He looked up, met my eyes. "She said I treated her the way I treated you." I felt nothing. No satisfaction, no vindication, just nothing. "Losing her made me look at my life," he said. "Really look at it." And I realized, everyone who ever loved me, I pushed away. Mom, you, Jennifer. Even my kids are distant now. They're polite but not close. "And it's my fault." "Yes," I said simply. "It is," he flinched, but nodded. "I know. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. I know I can't undo 40 years of being a selfish asshole. But I needed you to know that I finally understand. What you did for me. What you sacrificed. What I took for granted. Silence. A car drove past. A bird sang. Life continued. I don't need you to forgive me," he said. "I just needed you to know that I'm sorry. That you were right. About all of it." He turned to leave. "David," he stopped. Turned back. "I do forgive you," I said. His face lit up. "But I don't want you in my life." The light faded. "Forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation," I continued. "It means I'm not carrying anger anymore. It means I've let go. But letting go means letting go of you too. You taught me that I deserve better. That I deserve people who show up, who care, who don't make me beg for basic human decency. And you're not that person. Maybe you will be someday. I hope so. But I'm not waiting around to find out. Tears ran down his face. I understand. I hope you do, I said gently. I hope you learn from this. I hope you become the person your kids deserve. The person Jennifer deserved. The person I deserved. But you can't practice on me anymore. I'm done being your training ground for basic human empathy. He nodded, wiped his eyes. Thank you. For everything. For raising me. For loving me even when I didn't deserve it. For finally standing up for yourself. I'm proud of you, I smiled. Small, sad. Goodbye, David. Goodbye, Katherine. He walked away. Got in his car, drove off. I closed the door, and I felt free. That evening, I sat in my garden. The one I'd planted over the past 2 years. Roses, lavender, daisies. Colors and scents that made me happy. My phone rang. Not David, one of my friends from book club. Hey, Katherine, we're getting coffee tomorrow. Want to join? I'd love to, I said. And I meant it. We chatted for a few minutes. Made plans. Laughed about something silly. Just normal, easy friendship. The kind I'd never had time for before. After we hung up, I sat in the fading light and thought about my life. The old one and the new one. The old Katherine gave everything and got nothing. She martyred herself for people who didn't appreciate it. She believed that love meant sacrifice, that family meant obligation, that being good meant being useful. The new Katherine knew better. She knew that love should be reciprocal, that family should be chosen, that being good meant honoring yourself as much as others. I didn't regret raising David. I didn't regret the sacrifices. But I also didn't regret walking away. Both could be true. I could love the brother I'd tried to help and still choose to protect myself from the man he'd become. A year later, I heard through a mutual acquaintance that David had started therapy. That he was working on himself. That he'd apologized to Jennifer, to his kids, to the people he'd hurt. I was glad. Not for me, for him. Because everyone deserves the chance to grow, to change, to become better. But I didn't reach out. Didn't congratulate him. Didn't offer support. His growth was his journey, not mine. My journey was here, in this garden, with these friends, in this life I'd built from the ashes of the old one. On my 68th birthday, I threw a party. Nothing big, just the people who mattered. My book club friends, my painting teacher, the women from the shelter, people who showed up, people who cared. We ate cake. We laughed. We told stories. And at the end of the night, one of my friends raised a glass. To Katherine, she said. The strongest woman I know. Everyone drank. I smiled, because she was wrong. I wasn't strong. Not in the way people usually mean. I didn't endure. I didn't suffer silently. I didn't keep giving to people who didn't deserve it. I was strong because I stopped. Because I chose myself. Because I walked away. That's the strength nobody talks about. The strength to say enough. The strength to stop being the person everyone takes from. The strength to build a life that doesn't revolve around being needed. Sometimes I think about that day on the floor. The phone call. The choice David made. And I'm grateful, not for the pain, but for the clarity. Because that moment showed me the truth. And the truth, as painful as it was, set me free. I gave my brother 40 years. He gave me a lesson I'll never forget. Some people will take everything you offer and still ask for more. And you can love them. You can forgive them. But you don't have to keep giving. You're allowed to walk away. You're allowed to choose yourself. You're allowed to build a life that doesn't include people who only remember you when they need something. And when you do, when you finally let go, you'll discover something beautiful. You're enough. Just as you are. Without the giving. Without the sacrifice. Without the constant, exhausting effort to earn love from people who should have given it freely. You're enough. I am enough. And I don't need anyone to validate that anymore. Not even my brother.